Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see. So thank you, Kishara, for the introduction. Thank you both, Kishara and Conti, for facilitating the opportunity to speak with you guys today. So when I present, when I talk, I like to have a conversation because I really think that's where real learning takes place, so we can have a conversation with one another. And so as Conti reached out to me, she said that there is work-life balance is a challenge for many of the young lawyers, right? Because you all are pursuing your careers, families, and you have many responsibilities, both personally and professionally. And so I wanted to share with you guys today my thoughts on why work-life balance is a myth.
Yes.
It is, it is a fallacy. And then how this philosophy I came up with called workplace discipline has helped me in my pursuit of a more fulfillment in my life, because at the end of the day, we don't live our lives in silos. There is not a work box. There is not a life box. It is all integrated together. And so that's what we're going to have a conversation about today. Is that fair? Yeah. All right. So let's talk about what work-life balance, how it's defined. So this is the basic definition. And one of the challenges with this definition is that it presumes that work is merely about career. So how many of you, as you are in a leadership role in this organization, how many are you in organizations or other groups that also, it seems like it's work? You know? So work is not always just about career pursuits or career ambition. And then they also presume that lifestyle is just about, health, pleasure, leisure. The life box is pretty doggone big, right? Because you have spouses and children and moms and dads and all of these other obligations that fall in that life bucket. Guess what? That life bucket gets really big. That way, the balance, so if you look at a scale, it can never really fully be balanced, right? One is always giving up something for the other. And the pursuit of that balance also presumes that one is more important than the other, and that one is always going to reach out to the other. And I just don't think that that's fair to ask of us. So I think it's a fallacy because work and life are certainly intertwined. So when your mother gave birth to you, she did not give you work, she gave you life, right? And work is an element, is a part of our life. But we are here to live a fulfilling, prosperous, and enjoyable life. And work is one element of that life. And work also makes our lifestyle possible. The next thing, balance indicates evenness, equitable, or proportional, and it always assumes that work is about career. So if you go out there now and do a lot of research, as I've done research in preparing for this talk and others, there is a movement afoot around work-life integration. So that's a big topic, and many universities are studying work-life integration. And the reason why the work-life integration also kind of fell hollow to me is, like I said, I'm involved in many other civic organizations, whether you're involved in your church or you're involved in other community organizations. Sometimes your role in those organizations certainly feels like work. And so I define work as anything that requires our time, energy, or effort. And that's a whole lot of stuff, right? So I'll give you an example for me personally. How many of you work out? How many of you like to work out? So for those people who like to work out, see, play for me is defined. Play is something that brings you sheer joy and satisfaction, right? So for some of you who like to work out, that's play for you. But guess what? Working out for me is work. I have to schedule it. If I don't schedule it, it's not gonna happen because I would choose to spend my time, energy, and effort somewhere else. And that's how I define the distinction I make. And that's why the definition work-life integration also kind of fell hollow and didn't quite work for me personally. And so here's just a definition around this concept that I call work-play discipline. And so how do we do it? Well, first we have to get clear on what's work for us and what's play for us, and then what's our life's work, what we're passionate about. So are there things that you do that time is irrelevant? Time just seems to fly by and pass by. So that may be something that is part of your life's work. And so we need to get clear on what is work for us, what is play for us, and then what is our life's work. Second thing we need to do is decide and determine. So we are all making investments each and every day. So you made an investment to be here today, of some time, energy, and effort, right? And so where do you want to invest? And what do you want to do? And then what do you want to outsource? So, moms, I believe, dads too, but I'm really talking to moms on this one. I do believe we can have it all. Women really can have it all, but you cannot do it all. And I think that's where pursuing that work-life balance really causes challenges in relationships and stress levels, health. It really has an impact on us because we cannot do it all. So what are you willing to outsource? Each of us have a certain level of knowledge, skills, and abilities, and we also have some certain special talents. But guess what? I know how to clean my house, but really it's not something that I love doing, right? So if I can outsource that, you know, there are resources available to me. So if I can outsource that, leverage that resource so that you can put back that time into where you want to spend it. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So the next thing is discipline, about creating a space for your work, your play, and your life's work. So discipline, that structure, that regiment, that make each and every item a priority in its appropriate place in your life. And so decide how you want to prioritize, what's most important to you, and prioritize those things, and then practice discipline around each and every one. So there's a place for work, there's a place for play, and each one has its place and has its time. And then finally, give yourself a little grace. How many of you beat yourself up over the most little insignificant things? Can we all admit it? Yeah. We've all beaten ourselves up over something at some point in our life. And I would say, you know, give yourself a little grace. We do not give ourselves enough grace, and we don't give it to others sometimes. So if we give ourselves a little more grace, it really makes each and every day a little more fulfilling. You didn't get everything off of that to-do list done. Guess what? It's okay. Guess what? My house is a mess. Clothes are everywhere. They need dishes. The dishwasher is never empty. I have a soon-to-be 15-year-old and 11-year-old. So my son is a soon-to-be 15-year-old. I can't keep food in the house, and I can't go to the grocery store enough. And sometimes I'm like, just eat cereal. Right? Because I can't do that right now. So give yourself a little grace. It's okay. So it is okay if you put the load of laundry on that night, and then you put them in the dryer in the morning, and then you fold them the next day. Now, I know some of us had mothers who told us, no, you have to do it all right now, right? You have to wash it, fold it, put it away, hang it up. It has to be perfect. Give yourself some grace. We don't live in that world today. And we are lucky enough to have the choice to choose for ourselves how we want to move in this space. And so one of the things I do with clients, I use this thing called a life wheel. And some of you probably have seen something like this before. But I encourage you, if you haven't, to sit down, put yourself in the middle, and write down these areas of your life that are most important to you. Okay? These are just some general areas that most people have. They even have apps for this now, so that's the cool thing. So if you're an app person, Android and iOS, you can look up an app for a life wheel. But you identify these areas of your life that are important to you, and what you do is you, on a scale from 1 to 10, measure or write the level of satisfaction you have in that area, with 1 being the smallest and 10 being the highest. In areas in which you may be a 10, you may want more than that 10, right? In the area you may be a 5, your goal may be an 8, and 8 for you would be fulfilling. So then you identify that gap. So where I'm currently at, and then where do I want to be? And then that's how you start making your plan and then prioritize how you want to live your life and then practice your workplace. And that is the general gist of what I have to talk about. So you can connect with me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I am active on social media, and I'm glad you guys are talking a lot about social media. It is a space that you need to be actively involved in as a professional. And so what questions do you have, or would you like to ask? So I said this to the judge, and so I know he has lots of life experience, so we talked about that. I told you that I might ask you if you would like to share anything about your experience in trying to have it all, do it all. On the spot.
The only word of advice I can say is have somebody in your life that's important to you.
Oh, okay.
I've been married for 33 years. We are each other's best friends. We've known each other 40 years. And to have your best friend go through life with you through ups and downs helps create a perfect balance.
Yes, that's very good advice. You guys heard that? So have someone in your life who is important to you. So going through this thing with someone is a good thing.
And as to your laundry issue, thank God for non-honor.
Yes, I mean, do you realize people used to iron sheets? Like, you're like, really? What? Oh, I can't remember. Anyone have questions or anything else?
How do you deal with family members that don't understand your journey in achieving a work-life discipline?
So I'm a very big fan of having honest conversations. I'm a very big fan of having honest conversations, and sometimes they're not easy to have. So family is a tricky one, because sometimes any of you are in the sandwich generation and you're caring for kids as well as elderly parents. Kind of. Sometimes that is work and not play. You know, it's not really enjoyable, but it is work and it's necessary, right? Necessary part of what we have to do. So I really believe it's critical to have those tough conversations about your goals, your aspirations, and the priorities for you. And your priorities, if you have a partner, as the judge described, you should try to line your priorities up. Those priorities are not lining up, you might need to find a new partner to go along with this thing with. Just saying. Because that is very, very critical, because you will need that support along the way. So having those conversations with your family, with your friends about your priorities, and that just because our priorities don't align doesn't mean I don't love you any less. It just means our priorities are not aligned, and I'm going to choose me in this equation because I can work myself into the ground, but then if I'm not here to enjoy any of this or to be here and share it with you. So that's the kind, I really believe in having those really honest conversations. They're tough. Yeah. Anybody else?
What about that leisure portion of your wheel? Like, it's a lot of people, I mean, especially in the legal profession, nobody wants to take a vacation because when you're preparing to go for that vacation, you work 10 times as hard. And when you come back from that vacation, you're just playing catch up. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of emails just in that period of time. I mean, what do you consider as a balance there?
So I would ask, what are the consequences of you not taking that vacation?
It depends. I mean, it could be very dire.
But it also, over time, what does it do to you from a health standpoint, for your level of stress?
I agree. It's important. It's important. But where do you balance that?
Yeah. So for me, I am a very, and I take certain points in time where I do my spring cleaning, and that also includes my emails. So I sift through, and there's do, dump, and delegate. I really do follow that methodology. There are things that you have to do that require your attention. There's a lot of things we receive that don't require any doggone attention at all. They're just there. And so we see the number, that red number that tells you 100, 200, and the number keeps going up if you don't check it a couple of days. But I venture to say about 50% of it you can just erase because it has very little significance to you, right? So that's the dump ones. Once you do the dump, then you have the other 50% to work with. That's your do or your delegate. So then what things do you actually need to do require your attention? What are things that are just FYI? See, we get a lot of CCs that are really just FYI, that it's really, okay, I don't really need to look at this right now. I can put this to the side. I can come back to it later. And then the others, delegate. What can you delegate? Who else can participate and take on some of those tasks and assignments? And that's, for me, that has helped in managing that. And like I said, I do a spring cleaning periodically in my home, but also in my electronic life. Like there's a spring cleaning that needs to take place there as well. So I don't know if that helps you, but if you follow do, dump, or delegate, I think that will help. That's helped me. Anybody else has a different methodology? Go ahead.
If you could just expand on it, I'll share a quick personal story. You talked about the outsourcing of tasks, and I'm going to use Conti as an example. You know, for us young moms, some soon-to-be moms, it's very hard for us to think about giving away some of our responsibilities to other people because it makes us feel bad. Conti, for months, had been talking to me like she had this cleaning service that she loved, and she was like, Kishara, you need to use them. I was trying to be a hero. I have a 5-year-old at home, I work, I'm involved, and I was like, I can do it. I like my house clean a certain way, I can take care of it. And Conti's like, I'm telling you, you need to, just use them.
Once you go, you won't go back.
The last Tuesday of every month when I come home, the best day ever when the cleaning services come. And it's really changed me. Like, it's opened up so much more time and that sort of thing. But it took her months to convince me to do that because I didn't want to let go because I felt like I was letting my family down because I had to pay somebody else to come in the house and clean. So I just want you to, I'm sharing that because I know there's somebody else in this world that's doing the same thing, but I want you to expand on it as well a little bit.
So I remember many years ago when I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and when I was being promoted, my girlfriend said to me, she was like, hire somebody to clean your house, you're not going to have time. Like that, she was very adamant about it. Like, I was like, really? She was like, yes. And so, because I knew her and trusted her, I went ahead and did it. It didn't take me money. I went ahead and did it, and I knew why she said it. Because from managing 12 people and then flying here, there, and everywhere, driving all over the state, I was like, oh my gosh, the last thing I want to do is when I come home to that 3-year-old and 1-year-old is then have to clean the house. Because that's how old my kids were at that time. That's the last thing I want to do. Like, is that where I want to spend my time, energy, or effort? Or do I want to spend it just, you know, enjoying them for that brief moment that I'm going to have to enjoy them? And so, so there's a lot of things I outsource. Like my social media, I work with somebody. Guess what? Social media, hey, lawyers, guess what? It's important for you, your work. Hire somebody to do it. It is all consuming. It is time consuming if it's done right and done well. It's a great tool for you to grow and expand your business. But guess what? You don't have time for it. So find someone that's good, find someone that shares your vision, shares your voice, and will listen to you and use them, pay them. It's worth the investment. That's why I tell people, do you need a coach? Do you know, that's what I do. So hey, shout out to me. But guess what? There are people who can help you get organized. And so if you need, this is my girlfriend here, she's videoing me today. Guess what? I need somebody to help. She's my stylist, and she styles my whole family now. So for back to school shopping, I called her on the phone. She likes to go to the mall. I don't. So I saved her some money, and my 14, soon to be 15-year-old who's starting the 9th grade, and I said, here you have him, and here's the money, and you guys go. And they came back with bags and shoes and all of this stuff. And she took pictures of what he should wear with what on which days, how he should mix it up. And guess what? I didn't have to do it. So I can stay home and do something else, right? So I am a true believer. You can outsource. There is no shame in that. And also that whole letting people down. See, we have this, especially women. That's why I talk a lot to women. And men, you can support women in this. You know, we have this pressure, or this voice, or this vision, and it's a fallacy. It's a false vision. It's from a life in a time when we did not have the same demands. It's from a life in a time where we lived near our nuclear family, so that support system was different. It's from a day and a time that has passed. So why should we not evolve from it? I think it's time to evolve from it. And I think that's a great gift we can give to ourselves and give to our daughters and give to our husbands, because guess what? They want you to be their wife too, not just a mommy. Any other questions, comments? Don't be afraid.
So what I'm going to do, when I'm still working on, is like putting value on my time. So my husband is really frugal, and so the thought of hiring someone to clean the house, he wasn't with it. He was like, that's just a waste of money. I'm like, well, you're not cleaning the house. So I know for me, it was more so like, okay, look, I can pay someone $250 a month to come clean twice a month, and I can go and bill and make way more money, you know, billing than I am cleaning the house. So why clean the house? So I mean, so for women, for men, maybe understand that your wife can do things that are more valuable in their time besides like cleaning the house, is worth it to pay that money out monthly and to have it in the budget. And then for the vacation, for me, I find out I can get more done once I have a break. When I come back, I am more productive. I can, you know, tackle more versus me being worn out and barely doing things when I'm here. So you need that break sometimes just to walk away, put the auto reply on, nothing will blow up, it will be fine when you get back, and then you enjoy life, because you can't get back those moments.
Absolutely not. So what's the song for Brent? How does it go? 525,600 minutes. I can't say that. But that's all we have each year. And the thing is, we all have the exact same amount of time. It's just a matter of where we want to invest hours. So if there are no more questions or comments, thank you guys for having me.
exciting lunch. And good with the order, do we have any announcements? Andrew.
Andrew Irvin. This year, I'm co-chairing the OCBA's Law Week Committee, and for those of you who don't know, it does civic education programs for elementary, middle, and high school students. Most of it is in the spring, but we get started planning and have a few events this fall. We meet once a month. The first meeting will be September 18th at the OCBA Center. There's always lunch. And we need people for leadership positions. So if you're looking for a way to get your foot in the door as far as volunteering with the OCBA, it's a great way to do that. I specifically need a treasurer, so if anybody like